Hi, World Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain called Netflix The Strays. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. A compelling question, for sure, but I'm afraid I'm implying that The Strays is more provocative and fascinating than it really is. Following the abrupt appearance of two mystery strangers, Maeve's life begins to fall apart. Maeve begins to doubt her sanity as she is compelled to face her history after realizing how closely connected she is to the two strangers. Here is all the information you need to know about The Strays finale if you're wondering what happened to Maeve and how her grave predicament turned out. Cheryl, a young woman in difficulty, picks up the phone to call her sister as The Strays begins. Despite the fact that Cheryl and her husband are having financial problems and that Cheryl alleges her husband is abusive, there are no outward evidence of this. The sister implores Cheryl to visit her and Cheryl packs her stuff. She takes one last look in the mirror before walking away from her life in London and never turning back. Years later, we meet Cheryl as she resides in Coombe, a town in the UK. She goes by the name Maeve and has completely separated herself from her African-American heritage to build a life in the predominantly white suburb. Maeve is wed to affluent life insurance agent Ian Williams. Sebastian and Mary, who are both teenagers, are the couple's two kids. Maeve is well liked in the neighborhood and resides there with her family in a sumptuous home. At the Castle Coombe School, where her children also attend classes, Maeve holds the position of deputy headmistress. Maeve, though, begins to get restless one day and her car has a minor collision. Ian makes the announcement that he has hired a young black girl to work at his workplace. At supper the following day, Maeve notices a black man at her school and begins to feel uneasy, especially after he speaks to Sebastian. Mary arrives home from a friend's house in the evening with an African hairstyle. Ian and Maeve become concerned when Sebastian doesn't come home after his basketball game. Maeve tries to have the black janitor dismissed from the school because she thinks Sebastian will be negatively impacted by him. She is forced to accept a formal warning because there isn't a good reason to terminate the man. The man later confronts Maeve in the restroom, making the implication that he is a byproduct of Maeve's anxiety. Maeve's concerns are confirmed when the black guy and a young black girl attend her event. Though Maeve confronts the couple and makes an attempt to eject them. But, when the man refers to Maeve as his mother, everyone at the event is astonished. The names of the guy and the woman are revealed in a series of flashbacks as Carl and Ian. After living in poverty, Maeve's children from her first marriage have located her. Through their interactions with Sebastian and Mary, Carl and Diane become a part of Maeve's life. Carl works at Maeve's school, while Diane works for Ian. At first, Carl and Diane are polite to their half-siblings, but as they observe their lavish lifestyle, they gradually develop jealousy. Carl and Diane therefore intend to force Maeve to discuss her history during the gala. Does Maeve accept Carl and Ian? Why did Maeve escape? Maeve is forced to face her history after Carl and Diane reveal the truth about her. Maeve raised her children and then left them behind to live a life of luxury. She never turned around and abandoned her kids to fend for themselves. Carl and Diane are justifiably angry with their mother as a result. Maeve addresses her family at home and makes a commitment to be honest once she has resolved matters with Carl and Ian. She tries to give them £20,000 at first to make up for her previous transgressions and tells them to ignore her suburban existence. Maeve and her new family are left in peace when Carl and Diane appear to accept the money. Carl and Diane crash into Maeve's house during the climax to celebrate Diane's birthday. The pair coerces Maeve's family into attending the party by holding them captive. They look to be a family as they place food orders and engage in board games. Carl, however, loses his cool and murders Ian while pretending to work out. Maeve apologizes for not tipping the delivery man while the meal is being delivered in the meantime. She goes to her room to get her purse, then she examines herself in the mirror. Along with the delivery man, Maeve flees the terrifying night and never comes back. She does, however, apologize to her kids before she leaves for the day. The movie finishes exactly like it began, with Maeve forsaking her kids under duress. She runs out into the night, denying any wrongdoing on her part. Both sets of children seem to be unimportant to Maeve, and her apology seems at best insincere. As Carl and Diane arrive, Maeve's carefully constructed existence begins to disintegrate. Maeve doesn't seem to care about her children from her first marriage, though, based on how she handled the problem in the first place. Although Maeve professes to care about Sebastian and Mary, her concern for them seems to stem from their contribution to her supposedly ideal life. The family photo we see as a recurring motif in the movie represents the same. However, after Carl and Diane disrupt her picture-perfect life, Sebastian and Mary serve no purpose for Maeve. Thus, she shows no hesitation in abandoning them, and escapes the consequences of her actions. What happens to Mary and Sebastian? Mary, Sebastian, Carl, and Diane respond to Maeve leaving the house in the movie's closing scene. She seems to be apologizing to Mary and Sebastian, who are left behind to deal with the effects of their mother's decisions. Mary and Sebastian reflect on their role in the disaster, and wonder why their mother left them as the film comes to a close. It is safe to infer that Mary and Sebastian now recognize Carl and Diane's suffering. The last frame, which shows the four half-siblings standing together, is very important. Carl and Diane become a part of Maeve's life earlier in the film through developing relationships with Sebastian and Mary. That turns out to be a ploy to assess Maeve's new way of life, the one she left them for. In contrast, the movie's ending allows the half-siblings an opportunity to genuinely bond, since they all share the grief of being abandoned by their mother. Although the movie makes no mention of what would happen if Maeve abandons Mary and Sebastian, it is obvious that she will never come back for them. Thus, like Carl and Diane all those years before, Mary and Sebastian are doomed. That turns out to be a ploy to assess Maeve's new way of life, the one she left them for. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.